All right, we continue. Got a little background music today, some electronic chill. Maybe you can hear it, maybe you can't, a little bit. But anyways, we're going to continue here with chapter 60. Now, we left behind some of the sordid details about Tiberius and his sexual excesses. In the list of catalogs of vices, though, especially for Romans, cruelty looms large. Suetonius takes pains to build this picture of Tiberius not only as demented and perverted, but also cruel. And that's what these two last sections focus on. First, we'll take chapter 60. And there's really 3 episodes that he talks about. Okay? The first involves a piscatore. Here it's in the dative case. And piscator, you know what the tor ending means. The guy who does the fish thing. Okay, so fisherman. But here, as your notes point out, and there are some helpful notes in our section for today, Tiberius 60, where piscatore is a dative of reference. Okay? Now, that's the first episode. And then the second episode in this particular incident is here. And it involves a here in the accusative case, a militem praetorianum. Okay? And then the third one, okay, it involves this guy, the explorator. Okay? This would be a scout, you know, someone who was supposed to go ahead and make sure that the road was okay for the emperor to travel upon. Okay, so we have an incident involving a fisherman and a soldier, a Praetorian soldier, and we also have one involving another one of his soldiers. And the incidents that he chooses here in chapter 60, and even in the next chapter, chapter 62, they are just, some of them we might understand, but this one especially, this first one involving the fisherman, there's a little mixture of paranoia on the part of Tiberius the emperor, but also just bizarre cruelty. Okay, so we turn our attention to chapter 60. All right, your notes help you with this phrase here. I'm sorry, let's go purple. In paucibus diebus, okay? Now, pay particular attention to the note on quam here, okay? Quam, as the notes point out, used in a temporal expression and means after, okay? Okay. Now, piscatore, as we've mentioned before, is a dative of reference, but what is it a reference to? Well, ultimately it goes down to this verb. He ordered in regard to a fisherman. Okay? Now, this fisherman had the best of intentions. He wanted to impress the emperor. Obviously, he's a local on the island of Capri. Now, Sibi, okay, is going to refer to the Emperor Tiberius, but qui refers to the piscator, right? And this, notice the case here, Sibi, okay? But then we have this strange switch all of a sudden. Your notes tell you to translate it, keeping himself withdrawn. But now, all of a sudden, we have this dative, and it refers to Tiberius, agenti, all right? Who to the one, to himself, it really keys off of the Sibi dative, who was keeping himself hidden. Okay, remember, we've noted this before, that he went to the island of Capri because he wanted privacy. Okay? But now, all of a sudden, somehow, this fisherman was able to approach him and he has in his hands a grandum molum, okay? And he's going to give this to the king, okay? But now, instead of saying thank you, this is the way that Tiberius replies. He usit. Ubio often is followed by an infinitive, and here he is, okay? Here it is, perfricari. There's a number of words you have to look up in the dictionary, and some of them aren't in the dictionary. But you'll have to just use a pocket dictionary. You should be able to find them well enough, okay? And here, ablative of means, here, faciem does not refer to deed. I would just translate it as face, okay? Now, terratus. Who is terratus? Okay, it's masculine participle, right? Who does it refer to? Well, here it equals Tiberius. Okay, what kind of Tiberius is he? Terratus. Now, why is he terratus? Quod is. Who's is? Well, that guy, the piscator. Okay, he was freaked out because a tergo insula per aspera endevia, okay, erapisset. So the long and short of it is he was kind of freaked out that this, how did you get in here, is kind of his attitude. Instead of saying thank you for a gift, it's like, how did this guy get in here? And then he was freaked out because it was quite difficult to access the emperor, and he starts to be paranoid. Okay? But here we have a typical Roman subservient person. Now, as bizarre as it seems, inter poenum, so during the punishment, okay, gratulanti, here a dative in reference to the one giving thanks. Notice the participle. And why is he giving thanks? This is referring to the fisherman. Quod, another quod. And here's the actual reason, because we have, not a supposed reason, but here because, you can see it's a bizarre punishment, but the guy's thankful that he didn't do the other thing too. So I'm going to see if you can figure it out. But then again, when the guy accidentally drops this information, what happens? Imperavit, okay? And again, impero often takes an imperative, okay? And this is what he ordered to be torn apart, okay? Now, it's going to sound a little bizarre, but if you think about it, something like this really has got to hurt. Okay, now we're on to the second example. So the first one involved a fisherman. The second one involves a militem praetorianum, a praetorian guard. But notice what case it is. Okay, so start here, puniit. Now, why? Okay. Ob subreptum e viridiario paonum capita. Okay, punita capita can mean to punish in respect to the head, or to punish in respect to the head means he either decapitated or he killed him. It's a severe punishment. Okay? Now, one word you might have trouble finding is vidiarium, which is a plantation or a pleasure garden. Okay? So, okay, subreptum goes with this word, pawonet. Okay, pawones. Pawones. All right, now the third example involves a scout who didn't do his job. So we've had the word lectica before, and that's that litter or cart on which the emperor was carried with the bed and the drapes, etc. Qua vihebatur, okay? Now, ablative of means here. Vepribus, impedita. What kind of lecita is it? It is an impedita, okay? And this is the guy who bears the brunt of his wrath this time, the scout of the way. So he was supposed to go ahead to make sure that the road was clear, but in one spot it wasn't clear. And this guy, this explorator, was describing him a little bit further. He's a centurionum primarium cohortium. And stratum, what kind of exploratum is he? He's a stratum where humi, okay, paina ad necum verberavit. We haven't seen that word since intermediate Latin with the nasty school teacher who tried to sell the kids to the Romans, remember? And he gave him, the general wouldn't take the money, and instead he gave the kids willow branches, and they way runt. Okay, they beat their teacher. Okay, so I hope that helps with your reading. Again, know how the Latin goes together. Okay, don't just try to get some kind of loose translation, but really wrestle with it. Now, it's short enough that you can do that. Okay, Wale.